Sir Ray, pa-cancel po yung live on YouTube, please. Thank you. This is Rowena. We are ready po. Let us know if we can start.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning. Ma'am, I'll start po. Magandang umaga po sa lahat, sa ating media partners, and of course, for our esteemed guests. Welcome to our Kapihan session today, May 25. Kasama po natin ngayong umaga si Yusek Rowena Guevara, Undersecretary for Research and Development from the DOST. She will be discussing the topic, clinical trial on vaccines and other COVID-19 researches. Magandang umaga po.
Magandang umaga, Nike, at magandang agham sa ating mga kasamahan sa media at saka sa ating mga kasamahan sa DOST at saka sa DOH. So ang una ko pong i-report ay yung tungkol sa ating mga COVID-19 vaccine clinical trials dito sa Pilipinas. Sa kasalukuyan, FDA has already approved 3 COVID-19 vaccine clinical trials in the country. Janssen's at saka Clover Biopharmaceuticals clinical trials are ongoing. Sinovac's clinical trial has not yet started, and FDA is awaiting the submission of their protocol amendment. The Task Group on Vaccine Evaluation and Selection also received 3 new COVID-19 vaccine clinical trial applications. The first is from the West China Hospital and Sichuan University. The second is from Shenzhen Kangtai Biological Products Company. And the third is from EU Biologics Company Limited evaluation of the first 2 new applications. Evaluation of the first 2 new applications are ongoing. Ito yung sa West China at saka sa Shenzhen Kangtai. Yung EU Biologics, kinukumpleto pa niya yung kanyang mga requirements. The DOS is also awaiting the final protocol and list of vaccines from the WHO so that the Solidarity vaccine trials may be applying for FDA approval and for the ethics board clearance. Our expectation is that by the end of the month, WHO would give the protocol and the list of vaccines to us. Now let me go on updates on local vaccine manufacturing. The last time that we saw each other, I told you there were 6 companies that were interested in vaccine manufacturing locally. Well, the Task Group on Vaccine Evaluation and Selection through the DTI-BOI and the National Development Company has been coordinating with prospective vaccine manufacturers in the Philippines. They connect local pharma companies with foreign vaccine developers who express interest in local vaccine manufacturing, and the government is also providing guidance on possible incentives available to them, and ito yung pinaka-worry ng mga companies, the regulatory requirements. Leading the review and updating as necessary the relevant policies and programs to make the policy environment more favorable for vaccine manufacturing. If you recall, I told you about the meeting of the 5 secretaries where they decided that we are going to pursue vaccine manufacturing as an industry. And therefore, we need to provide the policy environment that would be favorable for such an undertaking. So to that end, we now have 8 companies that are interested in local vaccine manufacturing, with 1 company targeting to start a fill and finish facility within the year. The first company is a distributor of a South Korean company, currently talking with 2 companies to form a venture with NDC. A second company has extensive facilities in Asia, and all vaccines that we need are being manufactured by their prospect foreign partner, such as rubella, polio, HIV, TB, COVID, and other non-COVID-19 vaccines. The third company is considering to start their local vaccine manufacturing venture with a fill and finish facility that is already established. The fourth company is discussing with DTI, BOI, and NDC. They have a connection with the vaccine developer in Germany and expressed willingness to partner with the government. The fifth company has a long-term partner of a Chinese vaccine producer, and the vaccine producer is interested in local manufacturing. DTI, BOI, and NDC are talking with Company E to fast-track their plans. The sixth company is looking for a possible partner. One possible partner for Company F is a US company And the company F has given NDC a pre-feasibility study for a vaccine they intend to initially do form and fill, and then do COVID-19. The seventh company is having ongoing talks with a Taiwanese vaccine developer for possible partnership on local manufacturing. And the last company is expressed interest to participate in the WHO initiative for the establishment of a COVID-19 mRNA vaccine technology transfer hub to scale up global manufacturing. Nalaman nyo naman na ang bagal talaga, matumal ang supply ng vaccine. So WHO has taken the initiative to establish tech transfer hubs for mRNA vaccine technology. Now, on the third item on my docket today is the joint memorandum circular on the green lane for COVID-19 vaccine manufacturers. ARTA, in collaboration with the Office of the Vaccine Czar, the member agencies of the Task Group on Vaccine Evaluation and Selection, DOH, DOST, DTI, and FDA, and other partner government agencies, led in a preparation of a joint memorandum circular on the establishment and operation of a bulk import, fill, and finish local COVID-19 vaccine manufacturing facility, and for the registration for the availment of incentives. The overall objective of the joint memorandum circular is to create a green lane that would set the expedited and streamlined process and requirements in the issuance of permits, licenses, and authorizations relative to the establishment and operation of a bulk import, fill, and finish local COVID-19 vaccine manufacturing facility. Second, to provide for facilitated registration for availment of incentives for a bulk import, fill, and finish vaccine manufacturing facility. The joint memorandum circular was approved and signed by the heads of the concerned government agencies last May 19. Fourth item on my update. This is about the Virology and Vaccine Institute of the Philippines, or VIP. While the VIP bill is for enactment, the DOST has initiated R&D of the VIP program. With the help of technical advisors and technical panel members, we are implementing 6 projects to start the VIP program in partnership with several institutions. These are the Baylor College of Medicine in the US, the St. Luke's Medical Center, and the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine. The anchor agency for the VIP at the Department of Science and Technology is the Industrial Technology Development Institute, and the program is being led by Dr. Annabel Briones. The 6 projects will focus on fields of human, animal, and plant virology and research areas of diagnostics, therapeutics, and vaccines. For year 1, we have an initial funding of 284 million. This has already been allocated for the 6 projects. Project 1 focuses on viruses in animals that may become zoonotic and transferred to humans. There are reports that SARS-CoV-2, the causative agent for COVID-19, is a zoonotic virus. Thus, studying them now may help prevent another pandemic from happening. Another project is to rapidly detect the African swine flu virus, and we want to be able to yield results in approximately 2 hours. Alam niyo naman po yung ASF, meron silang protocol sa Department of Agriculture, yung 1-7-10, na kinakal kaagad yung mga baboy sa isang lugar basta meron lang affected. So this time, because we will have a detection kit, they will probably be able to change the protocol na kung walang infection yung baboy, ay hindi mo napapatayin. So that is a possibility. Another project is on plant virus, looking at tomato yellow leaf curl virus, which infects tomatoes, a multi-million sector of our country. And it can also affect beans, pepper, tobacco, cucumbers, and other important crops, translating to billions of losses. 2 projects will use them to detect food and waterborne pathogens and treat bacterial infection. It is our hope that the VIP capacity building will start this year, and maybe by next year we'll start building our building at the Clark Green City, or the new Clark City. Of course, engaging Filipino scientists is essential, and the success of the VIP is a result of close cooperation with our stakeholders. We have scientists who have already engaged with us as Balik scientists. Some of them will be balik scientists who will be physically coming here, and some of them will be doing it remotely while we have the pandemic. Aside from our scientists based in the Philippines, the BIP also urges participation of Filipino scientists abroad. In coordination with experts here and abroad, we are constantly crafting the plans for the BIP. And to date, we have already lined the roadmap for the VIP, but this is still subject to discussions with other scientists and technologists in the country, and also with our local lawmakers. So with that, I end my presentation and telling you also that we are making progress in the enactment of the bill. Senators Ping Lacson and Bongo are the VIP's bill sponsors in the Senate. And then, of course, we have a lot more sponsors at the House of Representatives. In fact, I'm happy to report that the VIP already passed the committee hearing of the Committee on Appropriations. That will be all, and we're open for questions now.
Maraming salamat po, Yusek Rowena, for giving the updates po on the clinical trials on vaccines. Ma'am, I'll open the floor for questions. There is a question po from Red Mendoza. Go ahead, Red. You start.
Hi po, good morning po, Yusek Rowena. First question lang po, of course, yung 3 clinical trials natin, yung 3 bago, meron po ba tayong any information kung ano yung mga vaccine nila, or is this still preliminary na talaga nag-submit lang po sila ng interest right now to do their clinical trials in the country?
Itong mga ito, alam naman natin kung anong mga platforms nito kasi inumpisahan na ng vaccine expert panel na i-review yung kanilang mga application. Ang masasabi lang namin sa inyo, lahat ito ay phase 3 clinical trial kasi hindi tayo tumatanggap ng earlier.
Mm-hmm. Pero may idea na po ba tayo kung ano yung platform nila, or hindi pa po pwedeng sabihin?
Hindi pa namin, we're not yet at liberty to say that. Later. Still.
Okay. Okay po. So pahingin na lang po nung list kasi medyo nakakalito po yung mga pangalan eh. Doon po sa 8 companies na vaccine manufacturing, of course, kasama po ba dito yung mga pinag-uusapan between embassies? Kasi from our previous interview with the Russian embassy, they had said na the RDIF, the Russian Direct Investment Fund, said na they are talking with authorities regarding possible vaccine manufacturing. Kasama din po ba sa mga manufacturing, yung mga discussions, yung mga embassies or any other foreign missions in the Philippines who are interested in doing vaccine manufacturing here in the country?
Alam mo, nag-drop ako kanina. Pakiulit yung question lang.
Yun. May mga foreign missions po ba tayo na interested din, like embassies na malapit din sa DOST or sa DTI or sa ating vaccine cluster of their intention to build vaccine facilities here in the country?
Thank you for that question. Yung ating task group on vaccine evaluation and selection, kasama natin ang Department of Foreign Affairs at saka ang DTI. So yung DTI, meron silang tinatawag na trade attaches na nasa iba't ibang mga embassies at saka mga consuls natin. So they're on the lookout for such manufacturers. And sila actually yung nagdala sa atin itong mga sinasabi natin na mga mag-uumpisa ng mag-apply sa atin for a clinical trial. So sila talaga ay naghahanap. Saka alam nila na we are looking for manufacturers in the Philippines.
And last question na lang po on my end. Doon lang po sa VIP, sabi po committee level na po ito. So if the VIP is passed po, maybe 2021 or 2022, are we certain na po ba na mabibuild na po ba yung meron na po ba tayong assurance na the infrastructure will be there, na ready na po yung facility once it's already passed into law? And second question po, I know, bakit po hindi PCHRD ang naging lead agency ng VIP? Bakit po napunta ito sa ITDI? Yun lang po. Salamat po.
Okay, thank you for that question. Sa kasalukuyan, nakikipag-usap na ang DOST with BCDA para dun sa lupa. at saka with DPWH, kasi yung DPWH, meron sa kanilang 50 million para gawin na yung detailed engineering design ng VIP this year. Para next year, maumpisahan na yung construction. Ngayon, yung PCHRD is the council that monitors and evaluates the VIP. Hindi siya pwedeng mag-implement kasi somebody has to monitor and evaluate. Saka yung PCHRD, siya yung nagpo-put together ng lahat ng mga research organizations na magiging kasama nitong VIP. Bukod sa PCHRD, kasama din ang PICARD kasi yung para sa animals at saka sa plants, PICARD naman ang monitoring agency. Ngayon yung ITDI, among the Research and Development Institutes of DOST, siya kasi yung may pharmaceutical group at saka siya yung merong chemical group. Kaya sila yung pinaka-natural na mag-start nitong Virology and Vaccine Institute of the Philippines. Pag napanganak na to at na-establish, magiging part siya ng DOST as a separate institution. By the way, nilagay ko na dito shinare ko sa chat yung script ko kanina para hindi na kayo mahirapan magsulat.
Okay po, salamat po. Thank you, Miss Nick.
Maraming salamat po, Yusek Rowena, also for sharing your script po a while ago. Ma'am, next question po tayo from Lay Alvis. Go ahead, Lay.
Good morning, Yusek. Yusek, hingi lang po ako ng update dun sa clinical trial ng vaccine mixing. Ano na po ba yung mga vaccines po na susubukan po nating ipag-combine? And I mean for the first and second dose. And ano po ba yung gusto nating malaman dito?
Okay, thank you for that, Lay. Una, yung mix and match na clinical trial, i-conduct natin yan para masagot yung tanong na pagka ba yung isang brand ang aking first dose tapos sinundan ko ng second brand, anong mangyayari sa immunogenicity at saka safe pa rin bang gawin? So those are the two questions that we would like to answer and specific to the Filipino ethnicity. Kasi remember, itong ganitong mix and match, hindi pa ito nagagawa. Meron mga studies na ginagawa sa ibang bansa katulad ng UK, pero studies pa rin. So dito sa ating study, ang gagamitin natin ay yung current na mga bakuna na kasama sa vaccine rollout ng Department of Health at saka ng National Task Force on COVID-19 vaccine. So ang aming gagawin, dalawang klase. Yung una, yung first dose mo is one brand, yung second dose mo is another brand. Tapos, meron din tayo yung pangalawang part ng study, yung tinatawag nating boosters. So, kunyari, na-iniksyonan ka ng brand na pareho for dose 1 at saka dose 2. Ngayon, magkakaroon ka ng booster or third dose na ibang brand. So, yun yung mga aaralin natin. So, alam niyo naman kung ilan yung ating mga vaccine brands. So, lahat yun gagamitin natin. Pero hindi pa namin masabi yung exact combinations ngayon kasi yung ginawa naming combinations, kailangan pa nating ipa-approve sa Food and Drug Administration at saka kailangan magkaroon tayo ng ethics clearance from the ethics boards. Once matapos namin yung dalawang hurdle na yon, pwede na namin sabihin sa public yung protocol ng experiment.
Yusek, may info na yung Sinovac and Pfizer susubukan daw.
Kasama yun. Siyempre, kasama din sa 5. So kasama yung Sputnik V, yung AstraZeneca, at saka Moderna. So kasama lahat sila. Yung combination lang hindi pa namin masabi kasi subject to the approval of FDA and Ethics Board.
So titignan Yusek kung kung tataas ba yung protection, kung magmi-mix and match, and kung safe?
Hindi lang yung tataas, kundi tatagal ba? Kasi ngayon, wala pang study na nagsasabi na, yung bakuna mo pwede yan for 1 year or 6 months. Hindi pa natin alam. So ang gagawin natin, yung mga magiging participants dito, oobserbahan sila for 18 months. So titingnan kung at what point in time, bababa yung kanilang protection. So that would be the time na baka kailangan ng booster. And that is something that we need to understand now because we need to prepare for 2022.
Mm-hmm. Yusek, ilan po yung participants and kailan po target simulan?
Yung number of participants around 1,600 Tapos kung kailan masusimulan, the moment we get the approval. So we imagine na the approval process, it will take us about 1.5 to 2 months bago tayo makapag-start.
And magkano po yung funding para dito? Kasi po sabi po ng DOH, last week hinahanapan pa po ng funding.
Oo, medyo malaki ang funding na kailangan dito, no? It's around 100 plus million ang kailangan.
Okay, sige Doc, sa second round na po ako ulit magtatanong. Thank you.
Salamat, Clay. Next, ma'am, si Caroline po of CNN Philippines.
Good morning po, Yusek. Ma'am, my first question lang po. Ma'am, paano po yung recruitment nitong sa mixing ng brands, yung mga participants po? Meron na po bang target or ngayon po is you wanna call for volunteers po?
Yung ating target for the mix and match, yung mga mild at saka yung, well, how do I say this? We want to make sure na yung target natin na population would be yung pwede talagang mag-participate. So they have to be able to fulfill the inclusions and the exclusions. Again, itong inclusion sa exclusion subject to the approval of the FDA. And then the way that we will do this in NCR and possibly in Cebu and Davao. The choice of the actual sites will depend on the willingness of the LGUs to collaborate with us. Tapos, as usual, we will have a call for applicants or participants, of volunteer participants for this clinical trial. Excuse me. So, kung pwede ka bang mag-volunteer for this, it depends on the sites that will be chosen by our project leaders. Kasi kailangan, the usual requirement for the vaccination, kailangan malapit siya sa hospital. Tapos meron tayong way to deal with adverse events if there is any or any emergency. So yun pa lang ang meron tayong information right now. Caroline.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, my next question lang po. Ma'am, yung pong Virology Institute, kailan po kaya siya target na mag-open po?
Ganito, no? Caroline, kailangan ma-approve muna yung batas. Kasi once may batas, pwede na mag-operate yan. Pero even before the batas, gumawa kami ng mga programs na may mga projects para lang maumpisahan na yung R&D na portion at saka yung capacity building. Tapos yung building, ni-expect namin it will take about 2 years to build that building. So siguro baka 2020, end of 2023, 2024, nakabukas na yung building. Pero even without the building, we can operate the institute dito muna sa ITDI nakalocate.
Okay. Ma'am, sorry, last na lang po for this round. So ma'am, ibig sabihin, pwede na tayong mag-start dun sa mga research na nabanggit nyo kanina, even without the building. If yes, how soon can we start it po? Thank you.
Hi, thank you for that question. We have already approved their projects, so the funds will be released to them this coming June, and then they will start. Yung 6 na projects na nabanggit ko kanina.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you. So, ma'am, would you like to take a quick break po to, okay lang kayo, ma'am?
Okay
You may
na.
proceed po with the rest of the...
Yeah,
Sige,
tuloy-tuloy
ma'am.
lang tayo. No problem.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, from Kat Domingo, she typed the question po of Jasmine Romero of ABS-CBN News. May update po ba regarding COVID-19 vaccines for children?
That's a very good question. Many countries have already started doing vaccination studies for ages 18 and below 18. And some countries have already started doing clinical trials for ages 12 to 15. Sa atin sa Philippines kasi, we are relying on the clinical trials of the vaccines that we are procuring. So kung magkaroon na sila ng result, and then we will rely on the results of their clinical trials. If, for example, the Department of Health tells DOST that we need to do clinical trials for below 18, then we will do so.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, from Neil Jerome Morales of Reuters News, who will be the subject of the clinical trials and how many will be the subject of these three firms or entities?
Are we talking about the applicants ng clinical trial?
Yes po na. Yes po.
Go ahead, Neil.
Yes, good afternoon. Good morning, Yusek. Yung applicants po, yes po, ano po yung mga subject ng trials nila? Sino po, and gaano karami po?
If you're talking about the new applicants, hindi pa dumarating sa atin yung part na yan. Kasi kailangan maklear muna yan ng FDA. Nandun pa lang tayo sa vaccine, nasa evaluation phase pa lang. And then, as before, ang nag-a-announce niyan is the CRO or the company that is doing the clinical trial rather than the government.
Thank you, Yusek.
Thank you, Neil. Ma'am, perhaps we can ask Greg po for his question. Go ahead.
Morning po, Yusek. Sir, ma'am, clarification lang po una dun sa clinical trials for the mixing of vaccine brands and the possible booster. Will this be one clinical trial or separate po yung dalawa?
Yung itong clinical trial ng mix and match ay na yan, isa lang yan na clinical trial.
And then we will have the separate for the booster po.
Hindi, kasama siya ng booster.
Alright.
Oo.
Ma'am, will this include the study po of the vaccine's efficacy against variants?
That would be part of the expected results from this. Kasi yan sa ngayon kasi alam naman natin na we already have the COVID-19 variants in our country. So in a way, when they do the measurements for the different immune response analysis, they would be able to determine if a combination would probably work better for a particular variant. Kasi testingin nila yung mga participants nito eh.
Ma'am, dun sa 1,600 target participants, will this be on various age groups po? Or merong specific na age group like below 60?
Kasama yan sa design nila ng experiment. Hindi pa namin masabi kasi nga we need the approval of the FDA and the Ethics Review Board.
Okay, ma'am. Last na lang po from my end for now. Ma'am, yung selection po ng NCR, Cebu, and Davao as possible sites, ito po ba ay dahil nandito, ito yung lugar na may mataas na number of cases or what were the factors po?
That's the same reason, yung kung saan yung mataas ang cases talaga. Kasi gusto nating matest talaga yung vaccines in the worst case scenarios, yung madami ang infected na mga tao.
Alright, well, thank you, Yusek. Thank you, Ms. Nick.
Oo. Alam niyo, walang nagtatanong sa inyo tungkol dun sa COVID-19 surveillance among adult individuals who have been fully vaccinated against SARS-CoV-2. May second study kasi tayo eh.
Ma'am, baka you can
Explain
give us
ko,
more. Thank you, ma'am.
Oo. Alam mo kasi, habang nagro-roll out ng bakuna ang DOH, we need to know kung ano yung real world performance nitong mga bakuna na ginagamit natin. And to that end, meron tayong isang project. This is going to be implemented by UP Manila, si Dr. Nina Berba. And ang gagawin nila, habang nagva-vaccinate yung ating DOH, pipili tayo ng mga participants doon na susundan natin kung ano yung nangyayari sa kanila after the vaccination for about a year or so.
Ma'am, nag-start na ba to?
Hindi, sa June din ito.
So June for a year.
Around
Okay,
100 million din ang budget niyan.
thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Yusek, also for the additional information po. Ma'am, next reporter po from Sofia Toma Cruz.
Hi, Yusa. Good morning. Sorry, clarify lang on the last point you mentioned. So, just to clarify, this is a study that will look at the real-world effectiveness of the vaccine, and will this take into account whether or not there will be, for example, breakthrough COVID-19 cases among those who are vaccinated?
What do you mean by breakthrough,
Parang
Sophia?
what people na they get infected even if they've been fully vaccinated.
Yeah, kasama yan sa maaaralin natin. Kasi after they have been vaccinated, the two, well, we'll start with the wala pang vaccine, gagawan sila ng baseline workup. Tapos, as they get vaccinated and as time passes, babantayan yung mga iba't ibang serological at saka clinical analysis ng kanilang blood para malaman how much effective or what is the efficacy of particular vaccines. And of course, kasama na ima-match na nila yan with the age group, with comorbidities, and so on.
Pati na rin yung length of immunity, no, ma'am, which is still an unknown now. Okay. Question lang po, ma'am, on the J&J trials and the Clover trials, if you can give us information on that. What are the endpoints of those trials? Parang, is the J&J trial, for example, looking at the possibility of 2 doses, a 2-dose regimen? Is that what's being done here in the Philippines? And when can we expect results from those trials po?
These trials are part of the world trials, no? So, ibig sabihin, hindi lang sa Philippines ginaganap yan, kasama yung ibang bansa. At pagsasama-samahin nila lahat nitong mga results na ito. Hindi sila magre-report sa Philippines nung trial lang sa Philippines. When they report, they're going to report about the entire J&J and the entire Clover clinical trial. But they will give us information specific to the country kung ano yung nangyari dun sa ginawa nila dito sa clinical trial sa atin. So, in terms of intermediate results, sila lang ang pwedeng mag-report niyan kasi we are part of the government and we are monitoring them. So, we cannot be the ones reporting about it.
Copy, ma'am. Pero patapos na po yung mga studies, yung mga trials na to, or not yet?
Yung isa, tapos na silang mag-vaccinate. I think in Janssen. So they are now doing the follow-through na they are taking blood and then looking at the different serological and clinical analysis right now. Yung isa, nagtatapos pa lang.
Ma'am, sorry, last question. Just on the point of all these several different trials going on, so we have the one that will look at real-world effectiveness, and then another one that's going to be looking at the mixing the mixing of vaccines and the boosters. Sorry, not for the real world effectiveness, no. Pero are we concerned about the recruitment of participants, considering ongoing na yung mga trials and ongoing na yung vaccination program? So more people are getting vaccinated by the day, and then you'll have to recruit people who haven't been vaccinated, and the longer that it takes to start, baka lesser number of participants who can be part of these trials. And then when it comes to mixing vaccines din, diba? Considering na limited yung doses, how do we reconcile that with trying to really use every single dose for a wide number of people?
Thank you for that question. First of all, we are relying on the Filipino sense of balikatan because this is volunteer work. Being part of a clinical trial and being able to answer these important questions, not just for our countrymen, but also for the world. And what we have found in general is that Filipinos do volunteer. We have not seen any problems in getting volunteers for any of the clinical trials that we have started. Tapos yung ano yung last point mo na nga?
For example, ma'am, some mixing of doses or the boosters.
Yung mauubusan. Oo. Ganito naman, Sophia. Di ba nga nabanggit ko na bigla-bigla tayo nagkakaroon ng problem sa delay ng mga vaccine delivery. So we would like to answer this question na if there is a delay, pwede bang mag-mix and match? Para matuloy yung full dose ng mga na nagkaroon na ng first dose, mabigyan sila ng second dose kahit ibang brand. Yun yung masasagot na question nitong study natin. And we hope to be able to answer that within 3 months of the project start. So rather than may mawawalan, kung ang magkakaroon tayo ay knowledge about pwede ba nating gawin yung mix and match in case there are delays in the vaccine distribution.
Okay, Yusek. So parang we'll also be trying to make the most of, let's say, a situation like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Assuming approved na yung study, that's when you can, you can start that study.
Yes. Oo. Para masagot natin na kunyari, dapat second dose. Di ba, naalala ninyo may mga vaccines tayo na dumating na ginamit lahat for first dose. So wala tayong naka-stock for second dose. Kung hindi dumating yung second dose, anong gagawin natin? So yun yung ano.
Okay, thank you, Yusek.
Thank you, Sophia. Next po, ma'am, from Rafael Bosano of ABS-CBN.
Good morning, Yusek. Babalik lang po ako dun sa mixing and matching. Ito pong mga participants na sasali dito sa trial na to, lahat po sila siguradong matuturukan ng vaccine. Wala pong saline or kasi po 'di ba sa mga previous clinical trials may placebo group, may
Walang placebo dito kasi ano to iba yung ating objective.
Sige ma'am, tapos yung 1.5 to 2 months ang sabi ninyo bago maaprubahan. Nakapag-apply na po ba for approval from the FDA and other authorities? Para lang po at least makita natin, ma-project natin kung kailan talaga magsisimula.
Hindi pa kasi they still filling up all of the forms that they need. Ang daming kasing requirements isasubmit So they're still gathering all of the requirements that they need to submit to FDA and to the Ethics Review Board. Pero yung inaasahan namin, kasi yung ating FDA, kaya nilang gawin yung analysis at saka yung evaluation in 21 days. So yun yung inaasahan namin. At the moment makasubmit itong ating mga researchers, mabilis na magagawa yung evaluation sa kanila.
Hopefully this year, ma'am.
Ay, hindi lang hopefully. Talagang this year kasi inutos to sa atin eh.
Okay. Sige po. Tapos ma'am, dito po sa yung project on real world performance, gaano po ka-often yung reporting ng findings ng project na to para dun sa mga susundan for a year?
Reporting to DOST, you mean?
Yes, ma'am. Tapos kayo po giving us the updates. Kumbaga parang every 3 months or often
Ganito,
po ba?
dahil may mga milestones ito eh. So we expect that every quarter there will be milestones. But in the beginning, siguro we can report about how well we are doing in terms of volunteer recruitment, tapos kung nasang stage na tayo. Pero the moment na mag-umpisa na sila, we expect na every quarter pwede kami mag-report.
Last na lang po, ma'am. Since may mga ongoing clinical trials pa rin, how do you see these trials affecting po yung public's view of the vaccines? Baka po kasi yung iba isipin nila, pinag-aaralan pa yung mga bakuna pero pinapamahagi na. So maybe you could just appease them from any worries and apprehensions.
Thank you for that question, Rafael. And I expect that all of you here will help us in making the public know what is fact. The fact is this, we have emergency use authorization for the vaccines in the DOH rollout. So lahat yon sigurado tayo na safe at saka efficacious. At saka lahat sila poprotektahan ng ating publiko against severe at saka against death. Ngayon, itong clinical trial na ginagawa natin ay kailangan gawin dahil naghahanap tayo ng better vaccines. Ano ibig sabihin natin ng better? Siyempre, maganda sana kung single dose na lang rather than 2 dose. Pangalawa, gusto nating makita na alin pa dito yung effective siya forever or 2 years or 3 years. Hindi pa natin nasasagot yung mga tanong na yan. So, ngayon, kailangan tayong magpapabakuna kasi kailangan bumukas yung ekonomiya natin. At ang paraan lang para mabuksan ng ekonomiya natin ay sa pamamagitan ng pagbabakuna sa mas nakararaming tao. Target natin by December, we have about 77.7 million Filipinos already vaccinated. So kami ay umaapela sa ating mga kasamahan sa media na tulungan niyo po kaming hikayatin ng ating mga kababayan na magpabakuna po. kahit aling brand ng bakuna dahil dumaan po yan sa masusing evaluation ng FDA, ng Vaccine Expert Panel, at saka dumaan din po yan doon sa tinatawag natin na strict regulatory environment in other countries. Kaya po sigurado tayong safe at efficacious po yan. Sana po magpabakuna na po kayo pagka natawag po kayo ng inyong LGU na magpabakuna. Ako po naka-first dose na po ako.
Thank you, Yusek. Salamat po.
Thank you, Yusek. Ma'am, that's good to know po that you've already been vaccinated. Ma'am, I know you have an engagement po at 11. Medyo madami pa po tayong questions from our media partners. Just a reminder po to everyone, bilisan po natin para ma-accommodate pa din ni Yusek Rowena. Ma'am, second round po tayo from Leto. We'll start. Go ahead, Leto.
Yusek, yung sa real world data po, ilan po yung target participants?
Dun sa sa real world data, I think we are also targeting about 1,000 of those participants.
Okay. Tapos po yung sa J&J po na clinical trial, single or 2 doses po ba yung sinusubukan dito?
Pagkakaalam ko 2 dose yung nasa clinical trial sa Philippines.
Tapos Doc, yung sa ivermectin, kumusta na po yung clinical trial po doon?
Yung sa ivermectin clinical trial, kaka-approve pa lang ng DOST Execom. So, kamukha nung sa dalawang projects na binanggit ko on the mix and match at saka yung real world, dadaan to sa FDA at saka dadaan din to sa Ethics Review Board. So, around mga mga end of June or July talaga na magro-roll out. Pero 8 months yung total time ng ivermectin clinical trial.
Yun lang po, Yusek. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lay. Caroline, go ahead.
Ma'am, clarify ko lang po. May article po kasi nagsabi na dun sa mix and match, 3,000 yung participants. You've mentioned earlier 1,600. Ma'am, ano po yung final number?
As I've said, kailangan natin hintayin yung approval ng FDA for the protocol. Kasi protocol yun yung ilan ba ang pasyente, ilan ba ang participants, etc. Saka baka ako, kung galing yung report na yan kay Dr. Jimmy Montoya, mas tama siya kaysa sa akin.
Ma'am, dun po sa 8 companies na nag-apply for for local manufacturing of vaccines, ilan po yung initially target na gumawa ng COVID vaccine?
Dun sa 8, ang nagta-target talaga ng COVID-19, 5. Yung isa hindi pa siya decided. Tapos yung 2, ang target talaga nilang umpisan yung non-COVID muna.
Ma'am, last question na lang po. Ma'am, pagka po ba nakakuha ng AstraZeneca sa first dose and then nabuntis po siya before getting the second dose, advisable po ba na kumuha ng bakuna? Because in other countries, parang hindi po kasi ina-advise yung AstraZeneca for pregnant women. Thank you po.
Caroline, maganda yan tanong mo. Kaso ako ay Doctor of Electrical Engineering. Mas maigi na ang sumagot dyan ay doktor. Kung may taga-DOH na doctor dito, perhaps I could request them to answer. But I cannot answer the question.
Thank you po.
Naku, ma'am, apparently hindi din po ako doctor, so I cannot answer. Perhaps, ma'am, pwede po dyan si Yusek Rosette po sa briefing namin. Salamat po. Ma'am, next po kay Neil po. Go ahead, Neil.
Hello, Yusek. Yes, follow-up lang po again dun sa new applications for clinical trials. Hindi po ba yung sa West China Hospital of Sichuan University, hindi po ba yun yung itetest nila yung coronavirus vaccine grown in insect cells? Kasi yun yung na-approve po ng China. And then yung sa Shenzhen Kangtai, nakakuha na rin sila ng EUA based on inactivated coronavirus that cannot replicate in human cells. So, potentially, yun po ba yung mga i-test nila sa atin? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Alam mo, itong mga vaccine companies kasi hindi lang isang vaccine yung dinedevelop nila. So, we cannot answer that particular question at this point in time. Di kami sure kung it's the same, hindi ako sure kung it's the same vaccine. Pero pag lumabas yung approval ng FDA, we will be able to announce.
Thank you so much, Yusek.
Okay, ma'am, si Greg po. Go ahead, Greg.
Yusek, clarification lang po, yung 8 companies interested for local manufacturing, additional po ba to sa previously mentioned na 6 companies interested for the same na nabanggit po ninyo sa last kapihan?
Thank you for that clarification. 6 plus 2. So yung 6 dati
Alright.
at saka yung 2 bago.
So, in total po itong 8.
8
And,
lang tayo.
okay, ma'am. And yung sa clinical trials po, 3 yung new applications, pero wala na pong ibang pending so far.
Meron tayong mga negotiations na nangyayari ngayon with the bilateral partners. May mga iba kasi they are wanting to do the phase 2 clinical trials dito. So inaayos pa namin yung part na yun kasi initially ang gusto sana natin puro phase 3 clinical trials lang. So continuous yung yung negotiations natin with the, sabi ko dati 'di ba sinusundan natin 26 companies na nagde-develop ng vaccines. So as they progress towards phase 2, pag matatapos nila, we also engage them on a possible phase 3 clinical trial in the country.
Thank you, Yusek.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, last two po. Red, go ahead.
Hi po, good morning po ulit, Yusek Rowena. At yun nga po, the real world study. Several studies po are putting more than 20,000, 30,000 subjects po. Isa Indonesia nga po regarding isang vaccine po. I think they tested around 100,000 health professionals there. Pero sa real world study po natin, only 1,000 lang po. Is it because of the budget or is it because ganun lang po kalimited? And why not use the data ng mga bakunado to have a siguro an sample size? We have 4 million vaccinated, maybe 40,000 or 50,000 po, ma'am.
Okay. Una, sasagutin ko yung pangalawang tanong. Yung mga nabakunahan na kasi, hindi natin nakuha ng baseline data yan nung bago sila bakunahan. So incomplete yung information. Kaya hindi natin sila maisama as part of the experiment. Ngayon yung number, sabi ko nga, wag nyo i-quote muna yung number kasi hindi pa naman na-approve ng FDA ang protocol na yan. Pag gumagawa ka ng study, may tinatawag na statistical significance. So kung gusto mong magkaroon ng confidence na ganitong level, ganito karami yung participants mo in an experiment. So the way that our researchers have designed the experiment is such that they will have a certain level of confidence in the results of their study. So hindi yan paramihan, Red. Depende dun sa gusto mong masagot na tanong.
I see po. So this will be weighted po sa NCR, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao.
Yes.
Okay po. Sige. Yun lang po, Yusek. Salamat po.
Thank you then.
Yusek, si Sophia po. Go ahead, Sophia.
Yusek, just a quick clarification din sa real world effectiveness study. This includes all the vaccines that will be part of the government's rollout or just specific vaccines?
Yung part ng government rollout.
Okay, so we assume na all 7 will eventually be part.
Kasi ngayon hindi pa 7 yung dumarating. Depende kung ilan yung meron na tayo pagka nag-umpisa yung project.
Sige po. Tapos, tama po ma'am na the duration of this is, we want initial results in 3 months? Or is that for the mixing study?
For the mix and match yun.
Okay. Pero this, 1 year nga, diba ma'am? Follow up.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yusek, clarifications na lang po last two from Lay. If you can, ano daw po yung gustong masagot ng real world data? If you can clarify, ma'am.
Oo. Alam nyo, yung real world data, it will answer questions of the effect on the ethnicity. Kasi mga Pilipino na ngayon yung mga bakunado eh. That's one. And second, yung pinaka-importanting masagot is, ano yung efficacy niya over time? Kasi yun, wala pang masyadong mga sagot dun sa tanong na yon. Dahil hindi pa tapos yung mga phase 3 clinical trials ng lahat ng bakuna na to. Lahat sila naka-EUA pa eh. So yun yung very important question.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, from Caroline po, last clarification. Ilan po ang participants sa real world data if we have this already?
As I've said, we were waiting for the approval of the FDA dun sa kanilang protocol bago natin masagot exactly ilan yung number na yan.
Maraming salamat po, Yusek Rowena. Ma'am, I apologize po, madami po tayong questions from our media partners today.
No?
Maraming
We're
salamat
happy.
po for accommodating all.
Oh, maraming salamat.
Ma'am, may final message po ba kayo before we end this kapihan this morning?
Oo, nagpapasalamat ako sa ating mga kaibigan sa media dahil tinutulungan nyo kaming magdulot ng confidence sa ating publiko dito sa ating vaccine program rollout. Alam niyo, pag wala po kayo, mahihirapan kaming i-explain sa ating public kung bakit natin ginagawa itong rollout ng vaccines dito sa buong bansa. Inaasahan ko po na kayo ay aming magiging tuloy-tuloy na partner sa paglaban dito sa COVID-19 sa pamamagitan ng pagbibigay ng tamang impormasyon sa tamang panahon. Tulungan niyo po kami na ang ating public ay ma-assure na ang ginagawa po ng gobyerno ay tamang-tama po para sa ating mga kababayan. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat po, Yusek Rowena and all the media partners. Ma'am, ingat po and salamat po again.